invitation, Laura and David, and I'm absolutely delighted to be here. Thank you all for the invitation. I've given this talk the very broad title of Legacies of 1916, but what I want to think about are some quite specific cultural legacies to do with the way the idea of the nation, its histories, its boundaries, and its porousness continue to be shaped by debates generated during the revolutionary period. Part of what I'm interested in is the way that certain genres have taken the weight of expressing, for want of a better word, Irish national consciousness, as well as a way of thinking about its boundaries and its others. I'm particularly interested in the novel, and especially the historical novel, about the recent past, in which the relationship between personal memory and a broader familial public national history gets played out at the level of form. I want to ask whether some generic tropes may be less productive than others in representing these national stories. Without being too programmatic, I hope, I want to suggest that contemporary site-specific performance, mixed media, and cross-genre film and fiction may offer alternative ways of thinking about the relationship between Irish history and the Irish present, which echo some aspects of cultural production in the 1916 period. And in that light, I'd also like to think a little bit about the commemorative year that we're in and what the cultural and publishing activity associated with the commemorations might tell us about the current political temperature in Ireland. So this talk is, David said, it's work in progress, and this is kind of exploratory. It's not going to be a very historical talk, I'm afraid. I'm going to be thinking about genre and particular different kinds of plot. But I'm thinking this through. I was thinking it through as I was writing it, and I'd be very grateful for your thoughts and comments. So some of this talk will touch on recent literary and cultural representations, but I want to start with 1916, and specifically with Joyce in Europe writing Ulysses, in fact throughout the whole of the revolutionary period. One of the things we tend to forget about Ulysses is that it's a historical novel, albeit one about the very recent past. Throughout the book, there's a dynamic relationship between the ghosts of an Irish past, including, for example, famine ghosts, and the present of 1904. But the present in which Joyce was writing, and I'm thinking particularly about 1916 at this point, also feeds back into the past of the novel. So, for example, those of you who might be familiar with Eamon Nolan's book, Joyce and Nationalism, she excavates the ways that the 30 chapter in Ulysses, which was written in 1916, sort of takes on, as the events are occurring in Ireland, he's kind of adding and changing aspects of that chapter. I don't intend to get into questions of Joyce's particular brand of nationalism, or his perspective on the revival, or the ins and outs of his relationship to English nationalism. I don't intend to, mainly because once in, I'll never get out, but also because there are several people here who could analyse all that far better than I can. Instead, what I want to do is pick up on several very well-known concerns of the Ulyssian Joyce.